Oh, another funny story. Ready for another funny story? Here's another hilarious story. Remember that time that you could have had TJ Watt, but you drafted a grown man named Taco? Do you remember that one? That was another funny one.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upside alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone. If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes. Bob Hope. I'm going to drink bleach.
Beat the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Cautiously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.
All right.
I thought you were dressed as Jesus at first.
Could be.
Welcome to, I thought it was episode 22, but it's really episode 21 of Birds vs. Boys. We are post Cowboys-Eagles Sunday Night Football, one of the worst games this season or any season in the history of the NFL.
I lost my cucumber.
And Aidan is dressed like Jesus, or maybe he's relaxing. He has cucumbers on his eyes, but he couldn't even keep them on, just like Carson Wentz couldn't keep the ball away from the Dallas defense. KMess, as always, here we are going to go a little bit around the NFL, and then we're going to recap that horrid NFC East victory for the Eagles. All right, Aidan, I'll just let you talk.
Well, what's there to talk about? I'm so relaxed. I got my robe on. I got cucumbers on my eyes. I got whatever you call this thing on my head.
That's a shower cap.
Yeah, well, I'm relaxed. I feel like I'm in a spa, and I don't know. I just, put the shower cap on.
Your franchise quarterback throws for less yards than Ben DiNucci and has 4 turnovers, and you're relaxed.
Look, I even have the slippers. I can't get it in the screen. I even have the slippers on. Look at this. I got a cucumber on my eye. I got the slippers. Look at this. I got slippers. I got a robe. I'm so relaxed. I'm in first place going into the bye week. Get to be healthy. Oh, man. It's easy being me right now. It's just easy, all the stress is gone. I'm floating on a cloud. This robe is as soft as a cloud, and I stole it from a hotel.
Hopefully at one point in this podcast today, we can get you to talk somewhat logical. But for now, I'll let you enjoy your victory.
Wait, well, hold on. I was the first logical one of anybody. Well, let's do around the NFL because we're already chomping at the bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was the first logical one.
I will give you this: the Cowboys were closer than I thought they would be. All right,
they were about as close as I told you they were going to be.
Yeah, right? if there wasn't a horrendous refereeing call of not down by contact.
Oh, wow. You really hate to see a tough refereeing call in a Cowboys-Eagles game. That really sucks.
Again, I don't care. Draft picks, baby. Top 3. All right.
Okay. We'll get into that, too.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Dalvin Cook rushes for 4 touchdowns. Vikings win 28-22 in Green Bay.
Fraud alert. The Titans stink. Bengals win 31-20.
Jets, I need you to win some games here, but it wasn't this Sunday. Chiefs 35, Jets 9.
The Lions run is already over. Colts 41, Lions 21.
Ravens lose Ronnie Stanley for the entire season, and they lose to the gold standard 28-24 at home.
Highly touted QB turns the ball over 4 times against a really bad team starting a rookie quarterback. Dolphins 28, Rams 17.
The Bills take a stranglehold on the AFC East, winning at home against the Patriots 24-21.
In the windiest game of all time, the Raiders win 16-6.
I love Justin Herbert, but the Broncos win at home 31-30 over the Chargers.
Nick Foles left the field with a tie against the Saints. Saints 26, Bears 23.
49ers ravaged by injuries again, losing Jimmy G and George Kittle, and they also lose to the Seahawks by 10 on the road, 37-27.
All right, good to get into this game. Oof. It's like getting a massage, you know? You
I'm
just
gonna
be
let I'm gonna let everyone know I am whether it's the radio show or this, I enjoy my notes. I always have my notes typed out next to me. I have not one piece of note today. So
oh,
everything I'm going to be talking about is off the top of this head. So
just
I'm just gonna let you go. Just go, and I'll just chop you down like a tree when I need to.
you won't be doing that today.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have I
Okay,
actually
Carson Wentz is so good. So
I don't know where
good.
you I don't want to start with that, but we'll get into that. Do you want me to be serious about how much your team sucks, or do you
Okay,
want
I
to
know my
just
team
do you want
sucks.
me to joke around?
I
Because
don't
either way, like we can talk about either one.
I mean I mean, I know my team sucks, so we can discuss it. That's fine. Jalen Smith is the worst linebacker in the league. I think Nate Gary could be better.
Hilarious that Nate Gary didn't play and the linebackers looked so much better. And TJ Edwards was very good in run protection, especially with Zeke Elliott. Jalen Smith, there was one play where Wentz was running directly at him and
Yes,
he
and he
was
turned
running
it
the
in.
other direction.
Yes, he turned he was looking at him over his left shoulder, and then he turned to his right shoulder and then ran the other way. Yeah. Goes down the
Sometimes,
sideline, correct, I believe?
yes, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I found that to be very funny. That was a very Nate Gary thing to have happen. Very, very funny. Well, I'll start by being reasonable because I know this is gonna go off the rails in a hurry.
Mhm.
So can I get my flowers for being the one who's like, this is not gonna be a blowout?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Congratulations.
pat
You were
myself
right.
on my very
Cowboys
soft back.
Cowboys kept it a game for a little while, had the lead at half. Aidan was gonna hop on the live stream, but he was a coward because the Cowboys were leading at half, and he didn't hop on for halftime. But
No,
that's okay.
no, it was 9-7 the year we won the Super Bowl, and then it ended up 37-9. So I was like, oh, it's 9-7. I've seen this
Oh
before.
yeah, I was on the live stream too, and they were asking like, "How do you feel?" I go, "I'm feeling like the Eagles are still gonna win by at least 10."
And they did.
They did.
But yeah, so but it wasn't a blowout like we thought. Here's the thing. And this is a very, very serious point about this podcast. I don't know if we can provide you the X's and O's like a Brian Baldinger can, but I think we're pretty good. And you can tell in our gambling picks because we hit on most of them. Human psychology, I think we are actually pretty good at.
I would agree.
The Cowboys were not going to go out like that. Those last two games were so embarrassing. On national TV again this week, there was just no way that they were just going to lay down and get
Mhm.
blown out by a rival on national TV. There's just like those people, they're grown men with families that drive Camrys and go to Disney. Like there was just no way
I'd drive a
that they
Camry.
weren't. There you go. I don't know if you got that reference, but yeah. But then no, like I didn't even with this backup quarterback, there was no way that they were just gonna let this Eagles offense, which isn't even good, just drive down the field like they did with the Cardinals.
Yeah, besides week 1 and maybe the end of the Giants game after Dak, it's the most hustle I saw out of this team all year.
I
Yes,
agree. I
and
thought
for 4 quarters too.
and it looked like they like on the sideline they were at least like talking like
Mhm.
it's the bare minimum. They're now doing the bare minimum, which is communicating with each other, looking like they actually care. They make millions of dollars. It's nice to see that they actually tried. But yeah,
I
like
saw
I
some
expect
emotion out of Mike McCarthy going wild at halftime, having the lead. A little over the top there, Mikey boy, but at least there was some emotion. I also thought he was going to have an embolism or a heart attack at one point during the
there
game.
was one play where I forget what the
Yeah,
call was.
it was. I believe was it the ball spot? No, it
I
might have
feel
been
like
that
there was
pass
a penalty.
interference on Jordan Lewis. I think.
Someone's going to be listening and they're going to be screaming, "It was this play."
I
And
think it
whoever
might
that
have been
person is,
pass
you can text us
interference.
and be like, "Yeah, that was it."
I can't remember if they were on offense or defense because there were some horrendous
Oh, I know. I
calls.
remember what it was. It was holding on Dalton Schultz where it didn't look like
Yes, yes,
he got a grab, but he didn't really get a hold.
yeah.
I didn't think it was that malicious, but that was it. But yeah,
It was
like
a
they
CeeDee
had
Lamb first down, I believe.
yes. Like they had some emotion, like they cared, which is
Mhm.
what I expected. And the other thing that I said about this is you've been getting blown out by teams with reasonable firepower. Like
Mhm.
there's no I mean, it was pathetic against the Cardinals, but you and I love the Cardinals. You love the connection with Kyler and DeAndre.
They're
We don't
young,
really
they're
have
fun.
that. Yeah, like, we don't have that. Like, this offense isn't equipped to just put up 35 with ease as it is constructed, and that was before Lane Johnson was out and there were 40-mile-an-hour winds gusting like a hurricane.
Unbelievable. It was I couldn't tell if it was the Ben DiNucci noodle arm or the winds at some points last night.
I went outside after the game. I had to drop stuff off in my car, and I was like, "This explains so much." Like,
Today, all day on Monday.
yeah,
Just
it was
I mean,
brutal. Like, I started charging my phone because I was worried that we were gonna lose power during the game, and I was gonna have to watch on my phone. Like, it was shaking the house.
I thought Ben DiNucci was going to turn into Dorothy and Toto and just fly away out of the
Fly
way.
away, yeah. He almost did because Fletcher Cox threw him to the ground. And
He was running for his life last night, that's for sure.
but he has to learn, like, he I don't know if he'll ever have the arm strength to be a starting quarterback, but Chris
But he
Collinsworth
does have the arm strength to throw for more yards than Carson Wentz in a game.
you
No,
know, no. So here's the thing: when you can run the ball at ease, whenever you have to, whenever you
Austin
can, like
Powers. Yeah.
with your third string running back, who is just a lesser version of Darren Sproles, and he can still run for 100 yards. You don't have to throw it every time. Doug
Well,
Peterson,
you and I are playing defensive tackle for the Dallas Cowboys right now.
well, I mean, yeah. What do you want me to say? Like, you built a flawed roster, and it's Joe.
No. I did not build anything. If I
I'm
were
not.
building, I would have built a lot better. Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, and Will McClay built a fraud roster, and we know this.
And it was very much on display. I think that was like my takeaway. Nothing with
I have no
Ben
doubt.
DiNucci, like the flaws of this team from player 1 to player 53 are really showing through on that team.
There was about, for the Dallas Cowboys, there was about, I don't know, Michael Gallup showed up a little bit yesterday. I don't know if the Cowboys were telling DiNucci to force feed him. I think he had 7 for 61 to put him on display for the trade deadline.
I was just going to agree, but I think they were putting him on display. But I think it's because they were like, okay, whoever Darius Slay isn't covering, just throw it that way. You will have the favorable matchup. Just avoid him.
And I was also I was impressed with Tony Pollard. Looked like he had some juice. He had 7 rushes for 40 yards. When Zeke had 19 carries for only 63. Zeke just looks slow. I mean, the offensive line is terrible. Besides Zach Martin, it's a bad line to run behind. But visually watching the game, if you saw a handoff to Zeke and then you saw a handoff to Pollard, it was different stratospheres of speed, agility, and just overall juice.
Do you guys remember that time? Hilarious. I don't know if you remember this, but it's a very funny story. So you had a top 5 pick, like you might this year, and you could have taken Jalen Ramsey, and you took a running back instead. Do you remember that hilarious story when you did that?
And then they paid him.
That was pretty funny.
And then they paid him.
And then they paid a running back. Oh, I forgot about that part of the story. That makes it even better.
That's why I'm having a actual discussion about what happens if they have a top 2 pick this year.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think you take Justin Fields, and economically that makes sense. But I'm not even going to let you have a sliver of hope in the idea or theory that you could have Justin Fields and reset the quarterback price. I'm not even going to. Not today.
They could take Justin Fields, tag, and then trade Dak to Indianapolis for 2 ones.
Why would Indianapolis do that? They could just get him a year later for free. Nope. You know what? I'm not even going to let you live out your pipe dreams today because you lost by double digits and it was never even close and you didn't even score a touchdown.
Wait,
you can do that at the end.
Hold on. You just made me praise you 84 seconds ago for telling me that you said it was going to be closer than everybody said it was and that it was close, but now you're saying it's not close. It was never close.
Did it feel close in that game? Did you feel like you had a chance?
I liked the first drive. I really did. I thought Kellen Moore actually pulled out some actual real trickery and actually opened up the playbook instead of, just schoolyard shit.
Yeah.
And then every time Wentz turned the ball over in the first half, he made me think that Carson Wentz was the only reason the Dallas Cowboys had an actual chance to win that game. Carson Wentz. He did not scare me whatsoever yesterday. And he was bad Carson Wentz yesterday.
Yeah. That I
Bad.
agree with that.
Like
And
he looked like the 23rd best quarterback in the NFL yesterday.
but I think any reasonable human being knows he's not. He's better than that. I think so. Do you want me to just get my logical Wentz take out of the way and go right back to being ridiculous?
Sure.
So I think there's a few examples that I have where it's like, okay, let's use complex thinking because Doug Peterson is not and Carson Wentz is not. Let's just like do a deep dive into the brain. We're going deep. Okay. So like the second play of the game, you wake up in the morning, and I'll get into Lane Johnson, but you wake up, you tell Jordan Mailata, who's learning to play football on one side, hey, Lane can't go. You got to play on the other side and defend DeMarcus Lawrence for 60 minutes straight. Just go do that, even though you're still learning to play football. You're playing against one of the worst rushing defenses in the league. So you run the ball on first down, it's for 20 yards. You would think, just go back and do that again.
Run it again.
But they don't. They go play action. DeMarcus Lawrence bust right past Jordan Mailata like a turnstile. Okay, now it's 2nd and 19 instead of being in 2nd and 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then you do play action again. No one's open. So Wentz, and I'm not defending him. This is stupid. Just throw the ball away. But that was the first fumble. It's like, okay. And in his brain, it's like, all right, we've put ourselves into 2nd and 19. Now I have to get us out of this almost insurmountable hole. I can't throw it away because then it's 3rd and 19.
But his brain needs to tell him, okay, Ben DiNucci's on the other side. It's okay to punt the ball tonight.
But that's my whole problem with Doug Peterson. So that gets into my second example of complex thinking. Here we go. We're going right back into the brain. We're back into the brain. Okay, so it's 4th and short, and you're on the plus side of the 50. So like the regular thought is, yeah, you're close. You're on the plus side. You should go for it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just took your thinking one step further, you're playing a rookie quarterback drafted in the 7th round, making his first start on the road. You could pin him
with an awful offensive line.
With an awful offensive line who your defensive line proved that they could beat. Pin him at the 10 and make him go 90 yards to score a touchdown and like make that guy prove that he could do it one time. So in theory, if your first thought is, okay, it's 4th and 3, we're on the plus side of the 50, you go for it. But I need a coach who is thinking one step ahead and is saying, in most cases, you should go for it on 4th and 3. But in this case, it would be advantageous to punt the ball to the 10. We'll probably get the ball at the 50 on a punt because this guy can't throw it more than 7 yards. And best case scenario, we'll probably be starting at the 3 because this kid's hanging on to the ball forever. And no one on that line can stop Brandon Graham or Fletcher Cox or Vinny Curry.
And I feel like that also gives juice to your defense because you're telling your defense, we believe in you right here. This kid can't beat you. So we're not going to go for it where maybe we would other times, but we trust you tonight. Go after this fucking kid at the 10-yard line.
Just go get him. Like, you invested this much money in the defensive line for these moments. Like, you're at the 10-yard line. They can get you one sack. They proved it a million times. How many sacks did they have last night? Like 6 by the end?
Yeah, I think so.
And what frustrates me the most about it is...
And also, Cedric Wilson, their Cowboys wide receiver.
Yeah.
He was sacked twice.
Yes.
Sacked.
He was sacked twice.
A wide receiver was sacked twice.
DiNucci went down like 5 or 6 times. Like, we might have had like 7 or 8. It was not great. But yeah, like, and you know what frustrates me the most? We sat here and I said the same thing after week 1. Make Dwayne Haskins, who doesn't even show up to the team anymore, go 90 yards for a touchdown. Like that guy, like week 1, you were giving him the ball at the 30. In week 8, he's not even like on the team. He's that bad.
Yep.
Like, why is this critical thinking process not going off? And what makes me even the most mad is the fact that this offseason they rejected the idea of an offensive coordinator. So now it's an oligarchy where Doug Peterson runs everything, and there's a few guys underneath who are these creative geniuses who are just going to give him some ideas, and then he calls the plays.
Yep.
Okay. So there's no, like, what are they doing? What do these guys do all week? Because we don't have an offensive coordinator. Doug's game plan and his situational awareness is approaching Falcons level, which sound the alarms. That's not great.
Not great at all.
No. And it's like, it's just a rigid, rugged, disgusting flow of an offense. It's so bad.
Great use of a word right there.
Thank you. Oligarchy. I'm pretty sure I got that right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my complaint. Now I'm going back to being relaxed. But again, I'm a broken record. If you have Lane Johnson in the lineup and you don't find out when you wake up that he can't play, then you're not coaching and you're not playing quarterback with an arm tied behind your back. Like if these things are happening in November, when, knock on wood, this team actually might be healthy and you have your full line, almost your full line, you have Miles Sanders, you have Ertz back. I don't know if Alshon will ever be back, but like if you're close to full strength and Wentz is still playing hero ball and Peterson is still like making these very boneheaded situational awareness mistakes, then I'll be like, this is sound the alarms.
Team's not good. They're just not very good. They beat a bad team last year.
That.
Oh, I know. I'm not arguing with you on that. They're just, neither of our teams are good, and that was on display last night. We said it on the stream last night, and Vince and I were talking about it before. If it wasn't the Eagles and Cowboys last night, I would have watched that game for about 12 minutes, and I would have got myself a nice early sleep on daylight savings change day, because when that game started at 8 o'clock last night, I felt like it was 2 a.m. And I felt like it was Tuesday at 8 p.m. when the game ended.
11 p.m. But yes, I know what you mean.
No, I thought it was Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday at 8.
Like I thought that's how long it felt. Like it started at Sunday at 2 a.m. and then I was watching that game until Tuesday at 8 p.m.
Well, who won the election?
We won't know that for another month.
Yeah, get right back ready to do it again. No,
I have a question for you about the game.
Okay.
So I was on the stream. I had my TV muted, so I was entertaining and talking while watching. Towards the end of the game, when the Cowboys were punting, and JP Lattimore, who is an all-pro long snapper, he's been in the league forever, one of the best. So he pointed up, looking back at the punter, and then punted it over his head. Was that a design?
It was.
Okay. Why?
Okay, so statistic. Now you can make an argument either way, but if I recall, it was after the Fletcher Cox sack. So you're in 4th and 17. Yeah. So if you don't get it on 4th and 17 with a quarterback who hasn't proved that he can throw it 17 yards, the Eagles get the ball at the 15.
But they were going to punt it.
They were going to punt it, but then that'll take up time, you know? So if you take that safety, you're still down 2 possessions. So, and that onside kick, for some reason, the Cowboys are not a good team, but they are also the best onside kicking team I have ever seen in my entire life. And they almost came up with the ball. So you wasted no time. You're still down 2 possessions. Yep. And okay, it's 2 touchdowns. You're still down 2. You got to go score twice. But now you have the ball back, and it wasted no time.
Yep.
So that's why they did that. And you're right that the special teams coordinator, I saw him scheming. Like I was like, something's up. And the way they came out and talked to each other, I was like, they're about to pull off some shit.
51, Lattimore, he literally turned around and was going like this. And at first I thought he was saying pump the clock, but then he was pointing. I'm like, and then he literally snapped it into the stands.
Yeah, and somebody else talked to the punter too, and I was like, they usually don't say something.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is.
I just didn't care. All right, so that made it 25,
23-9,
23. Yeah.
And this is such a selfish thing, but I wanted it to be 30-9. I wanted Reagor to come down with that ball the second time. Oof.
Well, my buddy who's a Cowboys fan before the game texted me. He goes, "It's going to be 31-9." So he was actually rooting for a late second touchdown there just so he could be that close.
He was very close. Yeah, it was very close. And I really wanted Reagor to have that touchdown regardless. Looking at rookie wide receivers who had touchdowns yesterday, Jalen Reagor had one. CeeDee Lamb did not. Justin Jefferson did not. I don't know. Are you talking bust with those guys yet? Probably. I don't know. I mean, obviously nowhere near Reagor's ability at this point, but yeah, I don't know if you really want that. We'll see. But yeah.
Sad. Very, very just, yeah, it's very sad things happening. Julio Reagor, well, welcome. Congratulations, Jalen. You made it through a game.
He's the fastest healer of all time, too. So I don't know if that does count for something, but
Until
he is the fastest healer.
Breaks again. He's Deshaun Jackson 2.3. I don't know where to start here. I'm broken, but at the same time, I'm not. The Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if you guys know this. Dak Prescott's last fourth quarter that he played this season. In the fourth quarter, they scored 24 points. They have not scored 24 points since then.
Total?
Since Dak has left, they have not scored 24 points.
That is
total. And Dak's last fourth quarter, he scored 24. They haven't scored a touchdown in 2 full games. Their last touchdown was against Arizona, I believe, in the third quarter.
That worked out well.
Mm-hmm. They scored. Yeah, no. This offense just they can't. I've said it. I forget if it was on here or the radio. In Dallas, you lose just a left tackle, and they're like, it's done. Offense can't perform. You lose your left tackle and your right tackle when your center retires, and your quarterback's out. This team, unlike some other teams, just falls apart. They can't compete. I don't care who you throw back there. Since every quarterback not named Tony Romo or Dak Prescott in the last 15 years has looked horrendous for this team. Throw anyone you want in there. Brandon Weeden, Kellen Moore. Horrendous. This team does not know how to compete, even though they have all these fucking stars all over the place. I don't know if it's heart. Well, it definitely is a lot of heart. But it's just, I just feel like I'm on the same merry-go-round I was with Jason Garrett, just fatter.
Remember, hold on, another funny story. I don't know if you remember this one. I'm just going to keep telling you funny stories about the Cowboys. Remember when he in his interview, he told Jerry Jones and the rest of your front office that he locked himself away like Christian Bale in The Dark Knight, and all he did was watch football in some barrier room, and then it turns out he actually lied, and he came out.
But he actually lied at the press conference?
He actually lied at the press conference about it and said, I actually didn't do that, but he already had the job.
But I wanted the job.
But he wanted the job, so they gave him the job. Now here we are. Remember that funny story?
You want another funny story? Let's run down the massive list of interviews the Cowboys did. Marvin Lewis.
I got to get my cucumber. It fell.
Mike McCarthy.
Wait, that's it?
That's it. That's all they interviewed.
That's hilarious.
Marvin Lewis and Mike McCarthy were the only 2 people they interviewed for the head coaching position.
That is almost as bad as when the Sixers did an extensive search for their GM and ended up with the president's son running the team.
Of course.
The Dallas Sixers, baby. Welcome to purgatory.
So I will say, like I said earlier, the defense was definitely flying around more than I've seen at all. I mean, that strip fumble that Wilson had on Wentz might have been one of the best plays the defense has had all year, and that's not saying much. Trayvon Diggs is either getting burned or picking people off. That's all he does. He can't contest the ball. He's getting turned. I mean, I think it was Fulgham in the left-hand corner touchdown. if I remember. I mean,
It was, yes.
he turned around to look for the ball, and the ball was already in Fulgham's hands in the end zone. But
But
again, he's a rookie, but so is Fulgham.
is that Diggs though, or is that? I'm starting to think my takeaway from a positive for the Eagles. I think Ward and Fulgham are two really smart players. Like
Yeah.
they just seem to understand. I think part of the issue for the Eagles has been maybe having the athletes, but just not the headspace. I think they're great at body control.
Hates Greg Ward. Didn't know that.
Who does?
CEO Joe
He hates Greg Ward.
thinks he is terrible. Thinks he was just an Eagles fan. He was just fanboyed by everybody last year because somebody needed to catch the ball, and he was the only one there, and he's not good at all.
Yeah, but here's the thing: he keeps catching it, and he's still there. So he did say during the NFL, this sticks out with me. Vince is right. He just said he's the Eagles' T.J. McConnell, which he is.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember during the stream him being like, "No, Greg Ward won't make the team." I distinctly remember that.
I'll try and find it from last night's stream, but yeah, no, he hates.
Because that was like before that was like the night we drafted. Like we drafted 3 receivers after that.
Mm-hmm.
He said that before we had 3 more receivers on the team.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think they're really smart. I think Fulgham understands body control and route trees. But so I think they targeted Trayvon Diggs, but I don't think that means he's weak.
No. He's got a lot of growing to do. He shows flashes of the ball hawking cornerback that everybody says he was coming out of Alabama, and why everybody thought it was a steal for the Cowboys. I mean, you would have loved him in the second round, I think. And when I got him at 51, I was flying high, and I still love his potential. It's just the kid has been thrown out there to be the number 1 corner for the Dallas Cowboys all season long. And they're just like, here you go. Here's Julio Jones. Here you go. Here's Hopkins. Here you go. Here's Fulgham.
And I get learning on the fly, but that's just a little bit ridiculous. But that's what happens when you're whiffing in other places.
And that again shows the Cowboys where maybe they made a mistake again with letting Byron Jones go, because Byron Jones, the big thing about Byron Jones in Cowboy land was he didn't get the turnovers. He didn't get the picks. But guess what? A lot of those, that Fulgham in the corner, he was contesting that pass. He may not have picked it off, but it would have been a much harder catch for him, and a lot of others, where Diggs comes away with 2 picks yesterday. Everybody's dancing, but the Cowboys lose by 10.
And Dolphins defense looking pretty good. So I'm sure he's playing a large role in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the decision making by Steven and Will and Jerry. I don't know. They now have the Steelers at home next week. I think yeah. Whoever, I mean,
Godspeed, brother.
If I'm Andy Dalton, my head still hurts.
True. Yeah. Do you really want to
headache? Right.
Yeah. Oh. Another funny story. Ready for another funny story? Here's another hilarious story. Remember that time that you could have had TJ Watt, but you drafted a grown man named Taco? Do you remember that one? That was another funny one.
And now TJ Watt is going to be going against Terrence Steele, who shouldn't be on anyone's practice squad, and he's starting for the Dallas Cowboys at right tackle because the offensive line coach feels like he found a gem in the rough out of Texas Tech in an undrafted rookie. No, move your fucking all-pro right guard, Zach Martin, to right tackle, and bring Connor McGovern back and play him at right guard and do your best 5.
But that's the thing that makes sense, unless they think that he's the tackle of the future, like what the Eagles are doing with Mulata. But I didn't really see it in that guy. Like with Mulata, I understand it.
He might be a tackle of the future in like the XFL in 2022.
Can't wait for that to come back.
Huh?
I said I can't wait for that to come back.
I hope The Rock plays too.
Yeah, that'd be wild. PJ Walker appearance this week too. It's pretty awesome.
I will give you credit. I mean, No, realistically, did I ever think there was a full shot? Maybe for like 30 seconds when Zerline hit that most ridiculous looking kick and it went through. I was like, maybe tonight is just one of those nights. Just then. And then I was like, as soon as the tide started to turn a little bit, it's like, yep, this is where they go. They run away and hide. And there's just not going to be anything the Cowboys are going to be able to do because they just can't do it. And I'm this is where I'm at with Amari Cooper. I get he had Darius Slay on him a lot last night.
I'm going to let you go.
Mhm.
Look at the clock. It's been 42 minutes. We haven't even brought him up. That is the biggest microcosm of Amari Cooper. Take the floor. I'd love for you to go off right now.
You couldn't be more right about because that is Amari Cooper. He just disappears. The dude just can't play against lockdown corners, which, okay, Stephon Gilmore shuts everyone down. Darius Slay is very good at his job, but you almost don't even know he's there, and even his mannerisms on the field. You have a $100 million contract. You're supposed to be a leader on the Dallas Cowboys. You are the most tenured wide receiver of this entire core in the NFL, and you got your head down and you're just like moping I get it. You're not getting the ball, but show some fucking emotion then. Be a little, go up to Ben DiNucci and be like, get me the fucking ball. Like, that's what wide receivers do. I'm not telling you to be a diva, but show some like, it goes back again against the Eagles last year, the last play of the game with the division on the line. He was too tired to be on the field. What? I can't wait until after next season he's gone, because the $100 million deal is really a 2-year, $40 million deal, and they can be out of it free and clear after next season. And I fully believe that him and probably Ezekiel Elliott are gone after next year.
Like I said, you're totally right on Amari Cooper. I just think that's his personality. Is he's just very mellow and low key, which would be fine. There's some silent killers, Like, there's been some guys who are pretty quiet, and then you say, "Oh wow, that guy really went out."
Pretty quiet.
He's got attitude to him. I like Allen Robinson is a guy who, like, you don't hear from him much, but he's pretty dominant. Calvin Johnson, like, you never heard from Calvin Johnson, and he's one of the best. He's Megatron, like, he's one of the best receivers. So you can be quiet, like, you don't have to be the emotional, like, leader in the locker room who's screaming at guys when things go wrong, but you got to show some life. Larry Fitzgerald's another one.
Yeah. There's just not. It seems like he's a big time chess player. Apparently, he built a library in the locker room. Like, that's cool, but like,
Yeah.
Once you cross over on the line, like, we're not playing chess here, and you just move your pawn and then click the button, and it's just like, hello, or we here, Amari, like.
Yeah. Like, there's a difference between low key and just shy, and then there's a big difference between shy and nonchalant. And it's getting like he approaches nonchalant territory very often for a guy who has $100 million contract. And I know you said he's probably out of here in a year anyway.
But that was the big thing out of the guys with Gruden and them in Oakland, now Vegas. They heavily questioned his love of the game. They did not think he loves the game. And you need to love the game to play at that level.
And to have a star on your helmet, because there is no place to hide,
Nope.
Like, you're on national TV a lot.
Yep.
And he's running out of places to hide because they're running out of people to rely on.
He'd be great in like Jacksonville. No one cares.
He was great in Oakland.
Yeah.
Because, but then they brought in a coach who's a hard ass, and all of a sudden, like, it wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
You used to be able to loaf there. And now look, they're 5-3 or 5-2 or whatever.
I think this offense could survive with CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and Cedric Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you got picks out of him. Like, I know you gave up a first round pick, and you probably don't get a first round pick back, but
no,
I just don't. This will come back to bite me. He did have that one game where he had like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns against us, but
he was great his first season with Dallas. He was the reason they turned around that season single-handedly. But that's what they say about it. He like goes in these waves where it's like he shows up, and his if you look at his splits at home in Dallas and on the road, it's mind blowing.
Way better at home.
Oh, like I think he averages like close to 100 and a touchdown at home, and on the road he averages like 17 yards.
That's weird, you know, because
Mhm.
like some road games, like you're playing Washington, you know, like the Eagles haven't had a good secondary. I mean, we didn't always have Darius Slay covering them.
No,
Like that's so
yeah,
weird.
that's all up here.
I was
It's
about
all
to say, and I'm not even gonna say because like part of me worries that he might deal with some
Mhm. I
mental
agree.
issues. Like
I agree.
I don't rip him for that. It's just like, but you could be like I said, you can be shy and reserved, but you still got to have 7 receptions at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You don't have to be talking when you're out there running routes.
And usually, even when he does have 7 receptions, you look at the stat line after, you're like, how? What?
Yeah, it's like how
Yeah, there you go.
road games, six games, 17 receptions, 213 yards and 2 touchdowns. His 39 receptions in home games, which one game less, and 673 yards, so triple the yards, and 5 TDs, so 3 more TDs. That is wild.
Right? Unbelievable.
That was one during the game. I was like, he hasn't caught a ball, and
Mhm.
Darius Slay got hurt, which
Yeah.
is like another thing with the Eagles. It's like, okay, you're just like throwing shit at a wall on the fly to see like what's gonna work because you're never at full strength.
Yep.
Like Slay left, and you still didn't hear from Cooper.
That's why I all of a sudden I looked up and I saw that it said Slay. I'm like, he hasn't even been out there, and Cooper's not like.
It was
Yeah,
so
it was the Ben DiNucci show, but I mean, how many times was it, he has watched way too much Patrick Mahomes tape.
I think that's like like he doesn't have the arm strength to get it there or get it
Mhm.
over people. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna flip it sidearm. Also, hilariously, he played for Pitt, which I didn't know. Him and
Mhm.
Nathan Peterman were on the same Pitt team. I
And
find that hysterical.
Nathan Peterman beat him out, and that's why he
Ye-
transferred.
yes, to JMU.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna trash Ben DiNucci because I am in talks to hopefully get.
Well, no. I'm just like,
No, I
I'm not trashing him. He was thrown into a tough position. I thought that like as a pairing was so funny.
know. Oh, hilarious.
Like that's the most random thing I can think of. Like as far as like a quarterback room.
So my analysis of him is he's a 7th round quarterback, and he was not expected to play a snap this year, except maybe in like the 4th preseason game. So I'm not going to call the kid a bust yet, but I don't know if he's ever going to be a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL.
Well, and can you be a bust if you're drafted in the 7th round? Like you kind of for him, it's like you could have a long, lengthy career as a backup
I
quarterback.
actually would say just making the team as a 7th round pick quarterback is an accomplishment.
Yeah, I just I feel like making the team being a backup that's your hope.
Yeah. I don't think, yeah. Yeah.
I think So that's
I'm,
it.
that's all.
Oh, the Giants offense is playing well tonight. Well, they're only playing well because I have the Buccaneers defense. Don't be fooled.
Yeah. Relax there, Colin Coward. another turd. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm very sad, obviously. I'm on Team Tank, but at the same time, any game against the Eagles, I want pretty badly. Not only just for the Cowboys, but to hold the upper hand in my marriage, to hold the upper hand in my podcast. And I have the lower hand in life right now.
When you say it like that, you make me feel bad for a second, but not really because I'm super relaxed.
She wouldn't let me sit on the pillows.
Well,
Um,
do you have anything else? Like,
I
I'm on
will say,
vacation, baby.
I will say that I watch out though for Washington, because with the schedules coming up, they have a good defense. It would not, I mean, we're in 2020. The NFC East is miserable. What would be more 2020 in a miserable division than a team without a name winning it?
Oh, I could definitely see it. I think
You did.
I don't know if but they are the only team in the division that has an elite group of players in their pass rush.
Mhm.
I think it can carry them. It doesn't have to carry them very far. They don't have to be that good. But yeah, I can absolutely see that for sure.
But I am excited for our next episode. I think I'm gonna have more pep in my step. We got the Babes on Broad coming in.
Yes.
They are phenomenal of what they do. If you don't know, so yeah, that is going to be a blast.
I also like the perspective of having a 2-on-2 where there's it's our first interview with multiple guests, so it'll be interesting to have multiple points of view, almost like Foursquare on the playground.
And 3 against me.
3 against you. Well, yeah.
I'm used to it. There's not much, not much.
What are you gonna do?
I'm not used to with this in life. Yeah. So the Eagles have I wouldn't say a stranglehold on the division, but going to the bye week with a win is huge. And you play the New York Football Giants coming out of the bye, correct? Again,
That is correct.
So, we said that these 3 games were must wins with the gauntlet that is coming after that.
Yep. So I think they're hitting the gauntlet at the right time. My hope is here the whole point and why I didn't expect a blowout and really didn't. I'm not as mad as some Eagles fans are. And this is my last point. I'm not as mad as some Eagles fans are because this was a treading water point of the season. It wasn't a 50-meter sprint like Michael Phelps at the end of that Olympic race. They just had to tread water and get guys back until the reinforcements could come. And they're hitting the gauntlet at hopefully, I'm just saying it because you know how this team goes, but hopefully at their healthiest point. Are they flawed? Absolutely. But they are a much better team when they could just have an ounce of rhythm and flow and stability on offense. So I'm hoping that will come, and I think you will see a much better quarterback in Carson Wentz when it does.
The Cowboys have 3 Canadians on their defensive line. That's all I'm going to say.
I think that's the perfect place to end.
That was episode 21. If you couldn't tell, KMess today was a little blah, and that's because I was just trying to emulate my football team as Aidan is trying to emulate his going on a vacation for the bye. We will be back for episode 22, the Emmitt Smith episode with Babes on Broad. That will be dropping on Thursday, but make sure you tell everybody to hop on the Birds vs. Boys bandwagon. Listen to us on iTunes, on Spotify. Watch us on YouTube. Check out our new Linktree app. So now when we tweet out the links, we don't need multiple links. You can click one link and everything you need for Birds vs. Boys is in one location.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds vs. Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upside alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there. There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
Beat the team you promised me you were going to be this year!
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.